Hey, what's going on? Glad you're here. Welcome. This is RJ's Cave. Today we're talking about how to find really inexpensive used gear that's at least reasonable to play, okay? And by what I'm talking about is like the used, the low end. I'm talking about now finding those guitars that I always say don't buy in those kits, those packages. I'm saying you're basically looking for those guitars as they're used, okay? So but this is for extreme situations. People really have no money to invest in wanting to learn how to play guitar, and this is a video or two, hopefully, on how to do that. Okay, and be able to survive the experience and end up with something that you can learn how to play on. All right, so before we get into it, if you like this video, hit the like button, and if you want to see more, definitely subscribe and hit the notification bell. All right, that way you get messages whenever we drop a new video. Okay, so we got to know going in that used gear is used, and it's probably been abused. So don't expect what the seller is saying to be 100% true. They may not know everything about it. A lot of times the situation is you're dealing with someone who didn't buy it for themselves. That it was like a son's, and they're selling it, and they don't know what's wrong with it, or at a yard sale situation or something like that. You know what I mean? So you don't assume that they're just outright lying, but just assume that they don't know everything. Okay. And examine it, all right? Go over it. Make sure that it's got the neck is nice and straight. That examine the strings. The strings get rusty over time, so you can see. You can kind of gauge the neglect to a certain extent by looking at the shape of the strings. If the strings are too high off the neck or the body, then that's no good either, okay? Because then you have a bow in the neck, and you may have a serious problem right there. It may actually need a new neck. So grab the neck too around the sides, because the fret wire sometimes over time the necks get dry and they shrink on the sides, and then the sides of the frets pop out, right? That's on good ones. On inexpensive ones, that'll happen from the factory because they just didn't take the time to shape the edges of the frets, the sides, okay? So we have to take a look and make sure that we're getting through all this. We have to be thorough, okay? Because you could end up spending your money and end up with something that when you get home you realize, oh wow, this is not what I thought it was, and now I'm out my money and I'm stuck with this, right? We're trying to avoid that. We're trying to make sure you get at least a playable instrument out of this deal, okay? So, pardon me. So we got to be smart, okay? Now, especially when we go to our first place we're talking about, which is Pawnshops, okay? Now, Pawnshops, these guys are professional negotiators, okay? They're going to try and get you to sell them whatever you have for as little as possible, okay? And they're going to try and turn around and sell it for absolutely as much as possible. And that's not them being mean businessmen or anything. They aren't a fast food place. They're not a huge retailer. They're not getting shipments of truckloads of stuff 3 times a week. So the stuff that they have doesn't move the same way. Okay, so they end up holding on to stuff longer, and that causes them the need to raise the price a little bit. So they're going to get a higher. The high end of the used pricing range for things, okay? But this is where you know where your range is, because if you know that they're going to buy low and they're going to sell high, and you see a price on something for $200, okay, you know that probably they paid a quarter of that, or maybe a third of that, okay? So maybe they paid $50. Maybe they paid $65, $70, okay? So now you have a range, because you know that they have a little room here. But by bringing them product, you also have negotiation skills there, because you're negotiating the price of that stuff, and if you give it to them at a little bit lower price than they're expecting you to be willing to part with it for, you can make that up on the other side. You understand? So, because you'll be being nice to them here and saying, hey, look, you know, I want to do this because you're kind of bundling. You know what I mean? You're going to have some cash, you're going to have some stuff, and you're going to want some stuff, and you can say, listen, this is going to be worth this. You're offering me this much, and you're going to get this much for all of it. I want that. Give me that for this much, and you can have that for this much. And I know you can make, because you're going to have more than one or two items, and the more items you have for them to turn over and put in their inventory to turn over, then the more room you have to negotiate with them, because they're going to get rid of that stuff, some of that stuff, faster than other stuff, right? They're not going to have everything for 2 years on the shelf. They might have one thing on the shelf of yours for 2. It might be harder to sell than the rest, and that might take 2 years to sell. But everything else might be in the store for a month or two, right? So they can kind of make up their money faster and still have something in stock, and you know what I mean. So deals start looking better the more you can bundle, all right, and you have more room to negotiate. Okay, so that's definitely something you should consider when you're dealing with a pawn shop. But never, ever, ever forget, these guys are professionals, okay? And don't be shocked. You got to play this like poker, all right? This isn't dealing with, you know, your friends and nobody really knows what's worth what. You need to know what's worth what, all right? So make sure when you go in there that you take a look around, grab your phone. We all have the world in our hands these days, and look it up. Okay, whatever it is that you're looking at, look it up, and look up the different prices for it. Look it up, not prices, but look up different prices. Look up new, look up used, and look up what it was sold for. Go to places like eBay and do searches for auctions that ended, and take a look for this particular item, and then you'll see what they've been selling for, and that'll give you an idea of what you can probably negotiate, right? So that's the way you work with pawn shops. Okay, now we're going to try and do some another one real quick. Okay, Craigslist. All right, Craigslist is basically social media. Let's just say, when we say Craigslist, let's just talk social media, FB, all of them. Okay, whichever ones that you go to now to buy and sell stuff. All right, getting a deal on these is all about timing. Here's why. Most people have no clue what their selling is worth. They're always overpricing things. Everyone thinks that their guitar is the next collectible. So you gotta stay away from that stuff, right? So what you're looking for is the instruments that people know, all right, I just want to get rid of it. Okay? But those are the ones you gotta move fast on. So you gotta keep looking around, and you gotta be willing to travel a bit. All right, don't be afraid. So what you want to do here, like I have a friend who hopefully is going to be on the show sometime soon with his bass, which he picked up off of Craigslist. Okay, and he found that the day it posted, it was only up for about an hour. He was able to get in touch with the person directly. Okay, and they weren't too far from him, so he jumped in his car, went over the bridge, paid the toll, spent $100. Got a guitar that was originally worth about $420. Okay, so not a super high-end instrument, but a solid player. Okay, and paid $100 for it. Okay, worth about $200. So he scored. Okay, so that's how it works with things like Craigslist. All right, again, you always got to know what it is you're looking at. Okay, and what the price is. So whenever you see something that's got a low price point, don't assume it's great. Don't assume it's horrible either. Look it up. All right? Just like I told you before, make sure you go online and you take a look at the different ways things are priced. New, used, what it's sold for, etc. Okay? You take a few minutes to do that and get educated. Now you have an idea of what's going on. Okay? All right. I'm going to try and do these quick, okay? I'm trying to do this all in one video now because I'm almost done here. So, Yard sales, okay? Really quick. Yard sales, you gotta, can be a great place to find instruments, but not everyone sells instruments, right? Because not every house has them. Sometimes you got the grandma yard sales. So you don't want to go to those. So you got to plan it out. So you got to go through social media, take a look around, look for those families that are either empty nesters, families who the kids have gone to college and they're downsizing, or younger than that, okay? Because those are the people that may have the kids around who have an electric guitar that has been sitting around in the closet and it's time to get rid of, okay? And when you plan this thing out, you got to make sure you're planning to start early, and you take a chance on picking what you think is going to be your best prospect, okay? And then you go there and you get there a little early and you make sure that you take a look around without being intrusive, because you're getting there before their start time, and a whole bunch of grannies are going to be there picking at the tables and stuff like that already, and they're going to be pissing everybody off. But you want these people to see you there, okay? Because you want to make a good impression. So now you chill and you wait till they start, okay? And then you politely inquire about the guitar and you find out how much they're asking. Here in New York, they're usually asking about $100 for a $100 guitar. Okay, not going to get that, right? So I would try to explain to them really quick that, hey, I'm a bit of a player and a hobbyist repairman, so I kind of know what's up with this guitar, and I would give you $35 for it. I would make sure that it gets a good home and it gets cleaned up and gets moved on down the road. I'm not trying to make a whole lot of money on it or anything like that. Just a quick turnaround, because it's never going to be worth a couple $100. And to me, I can't turn around and make a ton of money on it. So I would look to fix it up and clean it up and maybe hand it to somebody else. You know what I mean? And get my money back. That would be about it. They're going to tell you no. So you go, okay, no problem. Listen, I'll come back later. You go, do your other ones, work the same kind of angle, then you go back, okay? Because now at the end of the day, that hasn't been sold for the $100 that he wants, and he's going to be very interested in getting rid of it, and he's going to start wondering where you are. Now you go to him and you say, hey, how you doing? Have you had any chance to consider what I was talking about? I was thinking myself, I might be willing to give you $40 for it. See how fast he asks you to give him that $40. Okay? But again, always check them. Always examine everything, okay? Be thorough, all right? And don't be afraid to be looking through these ways of looking for inexpensive instruments and just walk away, okay? Because you got to get the learning experience. You got to see the bad ones to know that they're bad ones, okay? And you got to see the good ones to know that they're good ones. So go out there and just look around and walk away. Just take your time, and eventually you'll get it, okay? Now, at the very least, that guy, he says no to you for that $40, that $50, and that you've reached your limit at $50, and he says no. You say, okay, thanks for your time. Sorry, I can't, right? But now, he's trying to get anything that doesn't sell, he wants to get rid of. So more than likely, everything ends up in the garbage, right? So I know, I'm not saying you got to pick through the good man's garbage cans or his food garbage or anything like that. What I'm saying is that recliner that he didn't sell is going to have a guitar sitting on top of it on garbage day, okay? So you might want to drive by and see if that happens, okay? And if so, you got yourself a free guitar out of the deal. And he lost out, right? Because that, at least where I live, that stuff, once it's out for garbage, it's not theirs anymore. It's public property. So, but anyway, this has been guys, thank you very much for being here. And thanks for watching all the way through. Keep doing that, guys. Help the channel. Like the videos, subscribe, hit the notification bell, please, all right? And always remember, guys, that when you learn how to make music, you really are learning how to make magic, because when you learn how to make songs, then you know how to change someone's mood and heartbeat, okay? And that's special. I know this sounds sappy as hell, but it really is true, all right? So go out there, get motivated, learn how to make music so you can make magic, and I mean, the world needs more magic in it, right? So go for it. This is RJ's Cave. Thanks for being here. Take it easy.